Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal, and today I want to talk about something a little different. I'm just going to do a discussion video on video games and are they actually good for you? My opinion on this might differ from yours, and that's perfectly fine, and I'd love to hear your views on this as well, but here's going to be my views. Now, I do have some notes here to keep track of things. This is just a discussion video, so kick back, and I hope you relax and enjoy. The first thing I want to talk about is video games are good because they exercise the brain. To start, recent studies, actually a lot since 2018, have shown and noted a lot of research that playing video games could actually help to improve the quality of life for people like disabled and mentally ill. And having family members at that age where they're losing some cognitive ability, or a lot in some cases, I definitely see a benefit here. We have to keep the brain active. We have to keep moving. Otherwise, we tend to falter. So in layman's terms, playing video games directly affects and impacts the regions of the brain that's responsible for memory, spatial orientation, information organization, as well as our fine motor skills. Some of these studies also reinforce the claim that, like exercise, playing games for as little as 30 minutes a day can improve your life. Now, to determine how video games affect the brain, scientists selected two different groups. They had a control group, and they had another group playing Mario 64 for 30 minutes a day for 2 months. The second group did not play any video games at all. And then the scientists used the MRIs, the magnetic resonance imaging devices, to measure the size of the brain of the groups before the start of the study, as well as again after that 2-month period. The results did confirm that previous findings, that there were differences in brain structure of video gamers, and that by playing video games, there was a direct link between video gaming and the volumetric brain increase. So, that said, there is definitely some benefits showed in the brain development for video games. Now, different parts of the brain are impacted by video games. The prefrontal cortex, if you will, is the part of the brain that's responsible for decision making, social behavior, personality, and cognitive planning. It makes sense then that this area of the brain is affected by playing games like Super Mario 64, a game which requires gamers to plan ahead and contemplate how to use and interact with objects in the virtual world. Now, I'm not going to go about each part, but let's touch just a little bit, if we will, shall we? The right hippocampus plays an important role in how we process and consolidate information, including our short-term and long-term memory. Scientists saw growth here, too, as well, and it caused by players using the part of the brain to navigate Mario's world. As well as the cerebellum, which is also affected, is the part of the brain that controls your fine motor skills and muscular activity. Again, really, it's no big surprise that that area grew as well. So, you might imagine the results were more pronounced in the gamers who truly invested themselves into the gaming and had strong desire to beat that game and figure out the difficulties of each level, showing that they're enhancing those particular parts of their brain. By the way, it's not just Super Mario 64. Scientists also suggested that fast-paced action games and simulations like sports games, first-person shooters, yes, first-person shooters can actually help improve hand-eye coordination. And it can be used to help disabled patients as a type of digital therapy. And I myself tends to fall into that. I actually ripped my wrist apart twice. And I got so bad at the second time, I had to wear a brace for over a year. Right around a year. And I could not only but wiggle the tips of my fingers. And afterwards, I couldn't write at all. It was just, there was nothing there. I had to build up the strength, and I just didn't have the motor skills anymore. Playing video games helped me build my wrist back to where I can now write and do things again. Another important impact they have is they help with real-world problem solving. Games can teach problem solving and strategy and make them valuable tools for kids and teens. For instance, Microsoft offers a number of educational benefits from games like Civilization, SimCity. I find that Minecraft is a great one to get people into being creative and building things as well. Now, I personally am not a big Minecraft fan, but my son does, and I will tell you, my son is very crafty, and now my daughter is joining in on that and playing Minecraft too. And they're not just building things in the game. They take cardboard boxes, they do paper cutouts and everything. They're building all kinds of things, so I think it really gives a benefit of inspiration in developing things, as well as how to create things and fix real world problems. Now, another one a lot of people didn't think about until the Nintendo Wii is, well, let's be honest, they're good to exercise the body. You have games like Wii Fit and all kinds of Wii games, Dance Revolution. My little girl loves to play the dance games, and these are great ways to not only play a game, but to get people moving. Really, it's the convenience that makes such games as appealing as they are, as they're really easier to get into than going to a gym. I mean, turn on the video game system, dance around, do your weights or whatever there, do your step up on your pad. There's all kinds of good things on the Nintendo Switch as well as Wii to help you. And there's other systems like Xbox and things that had games that would help in this area as well. Now, another benefit they have is they actually offer other physical benefits as well. For another physical perspective, video games can actually, believe it or not, improve your eyesight. A study by the University of Rochester provided information that video games improve vision by making gamers more responsive to different shades of color. The same study, funded by the National Eye Institute and the Office of Naval Research, found that players of action games like first-person shooters have better perception of color contrast. You know, that once again helps me. I struggle with a little bit in that area. So hey, it's nice to know when I'm doing that first-person shooter that I'm actually helping my eyesight. Additionally, video games have been proven to improve your fine motor skills, and I think this is sort of a well-known one. And preschoolers as well. A study published in the medical journal found that surgeons who played video games, more specifically the Nintendo Wii, became better surgeons. So playing games do really help hand-eye coordination with precise muscle movement. So it's an essential skill, why not practice it? The next one I want to talk about is video games can help by inspiring interest in history and culture. The content of certain video games can encourage kids to read and do additional research. I know it's really helped to get my kid reading a lot more. Little Frugal has always been a reader, but when he really got into things like Minecraft, he wanted to dig in and start reading the books on it with us so he can learn about Minecraft more and more and more and more. And so he got to develop his reading skills even more. But video games such as Age of Mythology, Civilization, Age of Empires may spark a child's interest in world history, geography, ancient cultures, things like that. Let's be honest, we need more of that. I remember when I was going through school, I did not care about history at all. I found it incredibly boring. But now as I grew older, I have a passion for history. I love to know what's going on, what went on in the past, and how things developed and changed. It's an essential tool. Why not use something to get them more motivated? You know, other kinds of games too. My kids love like Math Blaster, things like that. So yes, they're fun games with mathematical components to it to help them, inspire them, and learn more. Another good reason to have video games is video games help kids make friends. Heck, they help adults make friends as well. So in contrast to what parents might have been saying, most kids see video games as a social activity. You know, it isn't like it used to be. It was just one person sitting there. Even though I always felt that they were a social activity, because couch co-op, I mean, how can you get any better than that? So gaming is actually not an isolated event. Video games create a common ground for young kids to make friends, allowing kids to hang out, provide structured time with their friends. I'll give you another example. Little Frugal loves Fortnite. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Fortnite myself, I can admit that, but it allows him to leave school. He puts on his headset with permission and adult supervision, and he gets to talk to his friends. You know, he gets to see his friends, especially during times of like COVID. What better way to get social interaction? I remember sometimes in the past I'd mic up and things with my brothers, nieces, nephews, and things, and play. All of us would play Call of Duty and get like 12 of us together as a group and have a fun time. Didn't matter how good we were. It was just a communication. So really, it doesn't matter if we're either in the same room or are all online. People can all get together with their peers and have a good time and be with their friends. And by the way, that's not boys only, that's girls as well. They're increasing market for that, and they're loving these video games just as much as the boys do. Now, if you remember before, I mentioned the Wii, the Switch, things for helping, be physical, but let's be honest, they can encourage exercise as well. You know, specifically boys, girls, they love doing things. They love sports. So if you get these kids in the games like sports games, or heck, even games and things like that, because they like the shooters, give them a set of laser tag guns and things like, or Nerf guns. They're gonna love to run around and play and do those things. It's amazing. So just because they're not doing the video games at that moment, the video games can actually inspire the physical exercise. Now, this next one is very big in my household. I'm big in this because I want my kids to realize it's okay to lose. Now, granted, we always strive to win. We should, and I don't think we should be handing out ribbons for nothing all the time and things. No participation trophies necessarily. I think that does more harm than good. But sometimes some kids do struggle with loss. They have temperament issues with that. And what better way, to be honest, is to learn to lose. Lose with grace. That's what I often help my kids, is if you lose with grace. So just for example, Little Frugal just recently beat me in a competition. We do monthly game competitions. We pick a game and we compete for it. And the last one was Centipede. You know, I beat him, he'd turn around and beat me. I'd beat him and he'd beat me. And the goal was every time he'd learn to handle loss, as well as to win with grace. And I think that's a big one too, winning with grace. I see that a lot with people when they win, they gotta brag about it. And I understand some celebration. Absolutely. But we don't celebrate by telling people they suck. Things like that. So when one of us wins, we make sure we tell the other one, good job. And also the loser is our goal to also appreciate and tell the other person good job and congratulate them on winning as well. So it's normal and healthy for kids to compete. It purely is. They compete with their peers all the time. They jockey for status, recognition. And a lot of focus groups and surveys found that this competition is a great thing in video games to help build those skills. Once again, it's a great social skill. Now, another one, this is one a lot of people tend to not think about. And video games give our kids a chance to lead. You know, I think about it and how hard it is to be a kid when everybody, your parents, are constantly telling you what to do. You don't have as much freedom of choice yourself because, well, let's be honest, you're a kid and you need that supervision. But when children play video games and in groups, they often take turns leading, sometimes they're following, depending on who has specific skills needed in that game. I see it all the time with Little Frugal and Fortnite, or both of my kids when they play Minecraft together. And studies have shown that kids who played group games often felt they had gained leadership skills, such as persuading and motivating others, as well as mediation of disputes. And, it makes great sense. We have to learn to get along, talk, build our skills, work on the skills that we're weak at, and develop those good leadership skills. So these skills can really transfer. Online multiplayer games offer kids a rare chance to participate and sometimes lead, right? In a diverse type of games with a diverse age group as well. And really, and a lot of times, who really cares how old somebody is? If I play with Little Frugal on Fortnite, I don't mind letting them lead. Sometimes I'm going to let them take a lead and I'm going to learn from them. You got to learn to be the backup player sometimes too. And it's a nice change. And let's be honest, sometimes you have to learn to be a follower, not always a leader. Being a leader is very important. Okay. But we also have to learn for the workplaces how to take criticism, how to follow, and how to build and improve. And games can build that skill as well. Now, as another one I think is very important, I think video games provide us with a unique opportunity to teach. Roughly 1/3 of the children that have been studied said they played games in part because they like to teach others how to play. I see this all the time, and I'd never really thought about it that much. I love sitting down and teaching my kids about games, whether it be an Atari game, a Nintendo game, or whatever. Sitting there and going through things and I'll say, hey, if you do this, this will happen. Or this is a little interaction I learned. And it's funny, I see my kids doing the same thing as well. Little Frugal will tell me, hey, Dad, if you do this, this will happen. And he teaches me things too. And I see him teaching his little sister. And now his little sister's also showing me stuff once in a while. Yeah, so the American dream, my little girl will say, hey, Dad, check this out. Did you know if you do this? And that's a great skill, because now that's once again a communication skill, but a teaching skill. Showing and communicating what you mean and explaining something and how to do it. And that's a pretty advanced skill for young kids. So when you have a 5-year-old doing that and an 8-year-old taking you through several different steps, giving you the situation, giving you the steps, the tasks, give you the actions that were done, and the results, that's a really good communication skill. And if you haven't noticed already, a lot of these tend to connect and work together. And that's video games bring parents and kids together. They don't tear us apart, they bring us together. I watch friends and everything teach each other how to play games. I see it all the time with my family and myself. The monthly challenges that we do just really give us a chance to sit down a few times a week, whether it be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour, and play games together. We laugh, we giggle, we pick at each other, and we just ultimately have a lot of fun. These are moments I want my kids to remember. It's bonding. There's things that, when I have to tell them no to something, they're not going to just say, oh, Dad's being mean. They realize, and I teach these skills while we play the games too, there's a reason I tell them things. There's a reason I say no. There's a reason why I tell them how to do something. And I also teaches them that I'm willing to listen too. If they need to talk to me, I'm there to hear them. So when we're talking about video games and they have an idea and they want to tell me, I'm going to listen to that idea. I might tell them it's wrong, and that's okay. It's bringing us together, giving us time together, and having a wonderful time in building those memories. And that is just probably, in my opinion, one of the best benefits you can get from gaming. So there it is, guys. There's my thoughts, guys and gals, of benefits, why we should be playing video games. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't probably be playing video games too. But hey, they are where they are. Now, one more personal one for myself. I use them as therapy. If I have a rough day at work and things just are bugging me, there's something about just sitting down, pulling out a first-person shooter or a God of War style beat-em-up game, side-scrolling beat-em-up, whatever it may be, and just going to town on that game. It makes me feel good. It gets out my aggression, my anger. It just brings joy to me, and then I'm happy because I don't want to bring problems home, and I don't think you should either. So if you're finding a rough time, break it out in a video game. Hey, you know what? Little fun here. If you're having an argument, settle it with a video game. Imagine our politicians if they would actually do that. Okay, we don't agree on this. Okay, let's battle it out in a video game. Winner takes it. Maybe the world would be just a little better place. Alright guys, well thank you for sitting here and listening to me ramble. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And I want to say thank you to all these fine people here. Without these people, these videos wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much. Until next time, keep it frugal.